So much, so many of you are so much harder on yourself than even God is. God is gracious. I'm not saying that you should just live a loose life because he's gracious. I'm saying that some of you are so hard on yourself in that condemnation mindset and that hardness, you're actually stunting your growth because you're not able to receive his love and his mercy. And if you keep beating yourself down, it's hard to get back up. But I'm telling you today, we're going to focus on spiritual growth, and we've got to catch ourselves growing. I was at the airport yesterday, and I caught myself growing. I was so proud of myself. I was there, and, this lady that, clearly, now I wasn't on Delta. I'm a Diamond Medallion, which means I get to go first on Delta. But I wasn't on Delta. I was on United. And they had these lines marked 1, 2, 3. And I was in line 1. And lo and behold, here comes this woman, and she just decides she can just go right in front of me. Now, to add insult to injury, she decides to let 2 more people go in front of her. Now, 5 years ago, I would have been fuming on the inside. I would have been boiling over thinking, what is wrong with this woman? Can't she see? Doesn't she understand? She needs to get up out of my way. This is unjust and this is not fair. And I would have been thinking these kinds of thoughts 5 years ago. I don't know, before I became so spiritual, I would have been thinking these thoughts. But you know what? I didn't say anything. It just didn't bother me. I had a quick thought, well, that was rude. And then I thought, whatever. What does it matter? So then she turns to me and she says, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cut in front of you. I wasn't sure where I was supposed to be. And I said, yeah, don't worry about it. We're all going the same place. And then I actually, check this out. This is how much I grew. I actually helped her get her bag up into the top of the thing because she was short. She couldn't reach it. Amen. Amen. I caught myself growing and it feels good. But see, I had to do a lot of things to get there because I had a lot of rough edges. I was at a conference, and I'll tell you one more example of how I recently caught myself growing. I want you to want to grow. I want you to prioritize this in your life. This is important at any time, but in a season of grace for growth, honey, you better grab hold and press into growing because some of the things that have hindered you for years and years and years, it's going to be easy to grow past them if you'll press in. There's a grace for this right now. Listen, so I was at this conference recently, and we were getting in a little bit late, and had flown in, and we got there just a few minutes early. And the host said, I really want you to come and pray with me, will you? And I said, I will. I said, just 1 minute, I've got to wait for Vanessa. And she said, she got so offended. Karen, she gave me the stank face. She would not look me in the eye. She was so offended. I didn't say no. I just wanted to make sure she didn't get stuck out there. I didn't want to get pulled into some back room with a bunch of people and have her stuck out there and not knowing where I am and all this stuff. It's just protocol. That's just what you do. They go 2 and 2. She got so offended, she left. And I didn't know where I was supposed to go. I didn't know if I was supposed to wait on her. I thought maybe we'll pray now. I didn't know what was going on. Finally, we go into the meeting room, and she's just won't look at me, stank face, rude. Witchcraft, just witchcraft coming all off her. I'm like, dear Lord. Now, 10 years ago, I would have said, forget this, I'm going home. I wouldn't have done it, but I would have felt like it. And I was like, this woman, what is her issue? Like, I just said, just wait a minute, just give me a minute. Like, what? Then the Lord showed me she's just been so hurt. She's just easily offended. And I said, Lord, then give me a strategy because all these people came to see me at this conference and I don't want them to have to be in this environment and it's witchcraft. And I said, would you help me? So the Lord gave me a strategy during worship. And I honored her, just honored the Jesus out of her and just began to prophesy over her and what the Lord really showed me about her. And she just turned into putty. There was a puddle of tears on the floor. And she was, thank you, woman of God. Thank you, woman of God. Thank you, woman of God. Thank you. Amen. Amen. But see, 10 years ago, I would have been like just trying to muscle through it and just trying to get out of there alive. And I wouldn't have thought to think of how I can return evil for good, but I've grown in the Spirit. Return good for evil, but I've grown in the Spirit. And so we've got to grow. You know why? When we grow, we have more peace. Those things that bother you don't bother you anymore. Then you have more joy. And then the people around you actually want to be around you. Sometimes people don't want to be around us because we're cranky. I'm not going to tell you to talk to your neighbor. Don't worry.